Here's a tour of my home studio. I'm using Focusrite audio interfaces. I've got the Scarlett AT920 and the Mark II Dynamic. So both of them are basically 8 analog inputs with preamped analog inputs, and they're synced together. And this Dynamic has the same preamps, I believe, but it's also got compression built in. So I use this for drums, those 8 channels for drums, and then these 8 channels for everything else. And then I have this passive patch bay from ART that basically is wired to these two guys, so I have 16 inputs here. And then this is just a power conditioner. Over here I'm using Reaper for my DAW. I don't have it open right now. But for my monitors, I have these Yamaha 5-inch. I don't know if you can see those or not. And then for different audio check, I use this Crosley Mono. I don't know what you call it, but it's a single speaker. It sounds really bad, but it's great to test. And I also have this stereo over here hooked up to the computer, to the audio interface. So these speakers are from the 60s, and they're great for, they're warm and muddy, so they're kind of the opposite of these near-field monitors, which are very flat and with even response across all frequencies. And so I use this awesome piece of software here to control everything. You can create as many different mixes as you want. So I have my main monitor mix, 2 headphone mixes, and then a switch between Crosley and the Pioneer stereo. So once I figured out all that, this little piece of software that comes with Focusrite equipment is just really amazing to use. I try not to run direct. I try to get real sounds out of everything. But sometimes I do. But so a lot of my bass sounds are a mixture of DI from SansAmp preamp, or sometimes from the Mark Bass amp, and then also mic'd Eden cabinet. This is an old Eden 4x10. It sounds great. I'm not really a guitar guy, but we use this. I have this Marshall half stack. It's from around 2000, and it's like one of the hybrid valve states. So it's got a valve preamp, but it's solid state powered. So it sounds mediocre. It's good enough for some situations, but I use the cabinet a lot. So the cabinet sounds great. So sometimes I will mix different amps with it. Like somewhere under here, like there, I have the guts of a Fender Champ. Fender Champ and the Marshall cabinet sound pretty sweet together. Or other times, depending on what guitarist I'm playing with, they'll bring in an amp head, and we'll use the cabinet with it. Over here I have my live drum rig. So these are a couple of sets. This one right here is sort of my set I used to play out with. It's not really recording worthy, and then when I'm really going small, I use this, just a kick drum and a snare with a ride on it. But over here, this stays mic'd all the time, and it's basic 4-piece kit with cymbals, but everything is mic'd and tweaked, and I never move it. I'm using, let's see. I use this overhead behind me when I play. It's basically over my head pointing at the drum set. And these CAD mics are my general cymbal overheads. Got an SM58 on the snare. I think the snare's bottom mic too. Yeah, It's got a pile, let me see if I can see it, pile mic on the bottom. It's a pretty cheap mic. Same with these guys. I'm still using pile mics, but slowly I'm replacing them with SM58s or something else. The floor tom, I definitely pull a 58 off something else when I record lately, because these mics just don't sound good. And then on the front, inside I use an Acoustics D6, which gives a good punch, and then I have this other pile mic that's for the kick drum from the set when I originally bought it, and I use it as my secondary kick mic. So basically what you have here is you have all the attack and a good punch coming from this mic. This mic just has to pick up the boom, and the two together sound great. You get a big room sound. The kick sounds huge when it's mixed and EQ'd properly. Up here is my wall of guitars. Believe it or not, it's not all of them. I play bass mainly, so I have several basses. I don't really have very good guitars. And in here is my makeshift ISO booth. So this is a closet that I turned into an ISO booth by hanging up moving blankets, or a moving blanket. Can't really see very well, but there's a moving blanket, and then this is a little addition. It's a plastic bin spray painted with a bed pad inside of it, and so I just take the mic stand and run it up through here, hang the windscreen over it, and I've gotten some really good sounds out of it. It's really clean. There's no echo at all in here when the door's closed. And then as far as the panels go, I built those. They're again, they're like moving blankets. If you go to U-Haul, if you need to build some cheap panels, these panels cost me about $10 for the foam, $7 for the blanket, and $4 for the wood on each one. So that's what, 21 bucks. Let's call it 25 bucks a piece. So the lumber is, I think it's 1/2 inch by 3 inch, and there's one blanket on each one and one queen size foam mattress cover stuffed in them, and they just work as sound diffusers. This is a box, so when I first started working in here, there's a lot of echo. You could hear on everything. The more stuff I got in here, the better that was the fuse, so I didn't have to soundproof everything. But it sounds a lot better than it did originally, and those cheap additions really help. Anyway, that's my studio setup. Thanks for watching.